Well, that happened. Hi, everybody. Welcome to In This Very Ring, where it's week 3 of 3 of just absolutely panic rewriting this thing after Smackdown goes off the air. Fun times. I am the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. My name is Ritz. Joining me as he does each and every single Friday night, the mayor of Toasty Town, Butters. Butters is on my list today. Ooh, Butters didn't write a description for the show, so what actually in a really weird sort of way helped out because I didn't have to rewrite much. But literally, I'm laying in bed, right? So my routine lately has been, I get off at 7. I try to catch the opening segment before I leave the office. Cool, watch the opening segment, drive home, get home, right? Put Smackdown back on. And I get in bed and just kind of have some very quiet time watching Smackdown. And I'm laying in bed, kind of getting ready, getting my mind right, getting ready for the show. And, the Bloodline comes, the new Bloodline comes out, the OG Bloodline comes out. It's main event segment time. And as soon as I heard the ladies and gentlemen, while everybody else popped, I went, and if you ever watched Dragon Ball Z Abridged, this is funny to you. No. And then he kept talking. No. And then he kept talking some more. No. And then cult of personality hit. And I have not in a long time shouted the word fuck as loud as I did. Because I knew we had to do a complete rewrite. Because originally, this show was poised to talk about Paul Heyman returning and bringing Seth Rollins into the fray next week. We had Paul returning tonight. That part we were pretty spot on about. But then tonight happened. And so, just in a sheer panic, because I'm trying to get ready for the show, right? And I'm rewriting things, and I'm trying to communicate with these guys. But we're here. We're on the air. We're going to produce some kind of product tonight. Because keep in mind, while this wasn't on my bingo card for the evening, I'm not mad about it.
It wasn't on my bingo card at all.
It was kind of on mine. But after my long-winded rant, we do want to thank our sponsor, Baggio's Bread. Baggio's Bread located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pie, sandwich cutlets, and meatballs. Mention HUD for 10% off your in-store purchase. Football is here, so get your spread with Baggio's Bread. Our wonderful topic of conversation tonight is, drumroll please, CM Punk just turned the tide in the Bloodline Civil War. Agree, disagree? Butters, I'm going to throw it to you.
Woo, what a night. Oh, every week. Every flipping week. I just love these on-the-fly changes. I'm going to go ahead and... Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and agree to the poll that yes, he has changed the entire tide because now he has brought more. He has fired up the OG Bloodline. I guarantee you Punk's pissed at the new Bloodline for putting Paul Heyman through a table. CM Punk is ready, we all know, to help out and just beat down the new Bloodline. Period. It's actually a big change for the for the OG Bloodline because The new bloodline has just been taking over, dominating week after week after week, and now with CM Punk, we are left this week with the OG bloodline standing tall.
Which was the first time that's happened since this has all started, really.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wants to agree to this, and I really liked our old poll question revolving around Seth Rollins and Heyman bringing him in and everything like that, because this is very much one of those ones where you almost have to agree to the poll question. Bringing Paul Heyman coming back, bringing in CM Punk, it adds a new dynamic. Punk and Roman have never interacted. It's truly the one person during this whole run as tribal chief that Roman really has not had any interactions with. The last time Roman and Punk ever came in contact with each other was Roman was still with the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so Paul Heyman doing what Paul Heyman does, going and getting a Paul Heyman guy, which that's why I'm like, you know what? It might have been on my bingo card. It had Paul Heyman come back tonight and said, don't worry, I have somebody for you. He's not here tonight. We'll see him Monday kind of deal, blah, blah, blah. Kind of pull the original bloodline out of there. We don't have a brawl. We have Solo left wondering what's going on, right? You leave some of that mystery going into Monday night.
Yep.
But, obviously Paul was able to call up a Paul Heyman guy. Solo and Punk have had an interaction, especially in the weeks leading up to when Paul Heyman was put through a table.
Yep.
Right? There was that brief interaction.
Take me with you.
Yeah, take me with you. I think Punk and Bronson also had an interaction as well. So, during the whole Punk Drew McIntyre thing, I think they might have had an interaction or two.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some bits there as well that aren't horrible for this story. Well, as far as turning the tide, when it's somebody to the caliber of CM Punk, because even Seth Rollins would have turned the tide. Anybody would have turned the tide. Why is the tide turned? Because now it's finally 5-on-5. Now there's literally an answer for everybody. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Punk can easily take out Bronson or Tama or Tonga or Jacob or Solo and vice versa for everybody else. Everybody can match up with everybody else here.
Yep.
Right? And it may not all make sense, especially if like Tama Tonga Loa try to go up against Roman Reigns. Canonically, it may not make sense. Like if you were to if it was real to us, right, and we believe Roman Reigns is this superpower in the world of professional wrestling, these guys can't take him down. But we're not going to believe that. We live in the real world. Right? We understand how this all plays.
Yeah.
So I think anybody walking in that role could have changed turned the tide. But and maybe this was a better poll question as I've talked it out. Are Roman and Punk going to be able to work cohesively? Because my buddy Jax was lip reading it, and this is Roman to Punk. Roman goes, "What are you doing here?" Punk says, "My friend asked for help." Roman goes, "I don't trust you." Punk says, "You don't have to. This isn't about me and you. This is about me and him." Referring to Punk and Heyman. So this could be, because if you notice, Heyman didn't introduce himself as the wise man to the tribal chief, to the original tribal chief.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, he did not acknowledge Roman. If you want to start talking about layers, this could be Punk and Heyman breaking off. Heyman's taken away from the bloodline, away from all this chaos. Heyman never got abused when he was with Punk.
Mm-hmm.
So this has multi-stage layers to it. And especially if you're potentially setting up for something between Punk and Roman.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if Roman were ever the title back, you lay the groundwork here. You do it here. Or even Punk and Solo, right? Maybe to more legitimize Solo as a top tier contender. So you have a lot to do here, and you have a lot that you can go back to the well on. And you know, Monday night, Punk's going to come out on Raw. He's going to cut that promo with Paul Heyman by his side, and he's going to say, "This is about my love for Paul. This is about my best friend asking me for help. Because you clearly don't have any friends, but he still does. He's still respected around here. He's still loved."
I mean, but you also saw Paul Heyman, the way he stared at Roman Reigns tonight. It's that same my tribal chief stare.
Say that again?
I said, but you also had to take a look at, the way Paul Heyman stared down Roman Reigns. He still had that's my tribal chief stare.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting how he, because he's doing this and then Jacob's doing this over on Solo side. So there's those little.
You could almost call Jacob, wouldn't say the wise man, but you could almost call him the wise enforcer.
Yeah, it does play a little bit into it. So let's take a look at some of the comments here. Don saying, I thought he would show up at Wargames. I agree. I definitely thought that we weren't going to get the fifth man. I shouldn't say I definitely thought. One of my scenarios had them not getting the fifth man until Wargames.
Mm-hmm.
Tom saying, my guys. Then he says, fly with me, Butters. Don't know. The Rock says, Don says, The Rock's definitely showing up now.
The Rock's in the chat now, huh?
Yeah. I don't know why half my brain was thinking Brock was fitting to come out.
Dude, that'd have been hilarious.
Well, and I think it's because Paul sets it up when he does the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He makes a big point of the 5.
Heavily emphasizing the 5, to your point. Yeah.
Yeah, heavily emphasizing it, which I thought was very interesting. Man, I am not cooperating with this virtual background tonight. I think it's because of the chair. I think it's because I don't have the high back on the chair. That
how dare you get a new chair?
It wasn't on purpose. The old chair was dying.
I know that, but I'm just saying, how dare you get a new chair?
Yeah, right. What was I thinking? I'm gonna have to find the perfect spot and just stay here. I can do this because I can't, or maybe I can just change the background. Because this room is not. This room is not ready for
to be wide open.
No
arms wide open.
Keep talking.
I don't want to. No. Honestly, I probably would have, shit myself had Brock come out instead of Punk. Punk is a big surprise, but Brock would have been that really big surprise factor. Had they would have, to your point, emphasizing so heavy on that 5, and then you hear that music and it's uh-oh. Then you begin to wonder, could Brock and Roman, could they very well get along?
Yeah.
With their past history. I mean, they could have just for Heyman's sake, but honestly, Punk works out just a little bit better because, they could get along because Punk is doing it for Heyman. Punk is doing it for his friend. So
it does say a lot. It does tell us a lot of what we can get out of this story when it comes to the interaction. Because we thought that the big thing going into this was the trust factor between Sammy and Roman. Right? We thought that was going to play a big thing. Or even Roman and Seth. I might have to just bite the bullet and have no background on.
I mean,
how bad?
I'll be quite honest. I was expecting
it's
Seth.
not that bad, actually.
No, that actually is pretty good. I was honestly expecting Seth because we know Heyman can talk the talk. He can bullshit.
Right.
So I was more heavily expecting Seth to be either announced tonight or next week. Well, I'd say by SmackDown of next week. I wouldn't say, the fifth man being revealed at Survivor Series, at War Games. We've seen it once with Kevin Owens being introduced. Yeah, that was cool, but could something like that, top that moment?
I mean, you could, right? Having Seth or Punk come out, right? You absolutely could have that. My biggest thing, though, is they've done such a good job. As frustrated as I've gotten with doing these reruns and doing these last minute changes because of our time slot in correlation to SmackDown, they've made sure that when SmackDown goes off the air, we have something to talk about until Monday night. And because you have Jay and Sammy over on Mondays, the story has been able to bleed into Monday Night Raw. Now Bronson and Punk are over there as well. So we are waiting until Monday night, right? We're not having to wait a week. It's keeping the story very fresh, very alive.
I mean, you look at it, the majority of Roman's team now is Raw roster members.
Yeah, with the exception of him and Jay.
Yeah.
No, Jimmy. Sorry. I knew what I meant. I just said the wrong thing.
Yeah, I get confused with them too.
But you've been able to keep this so relevant and so attention grabbing,
so fresh
each and every week. Yeah, and I mean, we've been doing this a long time, right? And usually we can kind of sit down and say, okay, this is the next step. This is the next thing that they're going to do. It allows us to kind of set ourselves up for some success when it comes to doing the show. And then Triple H said, nah, we don't want you to have that luxury anymore. And him and his team, between all the writing staff and even the performers, have gone to great lengths to make this a pain in my ass. And I applaud them for it because this is what it should be. We should not be able to write a show Thursday night knowing that we're going on after SmackDown.
Write a show and then immediately crumple it up.
Yeah, literally make the plan, throw the plan out the window, execute a new plan. Good luck.
Right.
So, but I also think it's a good and a bad thing because you're going to have some people that are going to really love this idea of CM Punk being that fifth man, and you're going to have other people that would have really wanted to be Seth Rollins. Because now you're going to the well of Seth versus Roman. And there was a TikTok that was sent to me the other day. I wish I could play it. If you think about it, Roman's been the one to turn on every one of his partners. Not Seth. No, I'm sorry, other way around. Seth has been the one to turn on every one of his partners, not Roman. Yet, Seth was going to call Roman a tyrant Monday night. Seth, you're the one that, hit him with the steel chair. Seth, you're the one that cashed in on him twice, I think. You're the one that hit him with the pedigree that year you came back. You're the one to only have beat him at one point.
Seth's the one pulling the Triple H stunts.
Yeah, right. Like you're that guy. Yet you're sitting there calling Roman the bad guy, and I think it's comical. I think it's hysterical to me.
Yeah, because you got when you look old school with the original Shield members, you got Seth as Triple H, Roman Rock, and then you got Marty Jannetty. off on the side somewhere.
Huh? No. How does that work?
I don't know. To me, Dean Ambrose ain't done much. I mean, he's done much, but I don't know.
But wait, stop. No. Wait. All right, so Seth is Triple H, right?
Yeah.
And Roman is The Rock.
Uh-huh.
In what faction were they together?
It wasn't. It was just meant to be a comparison. It wasn't meant to be them in factions. It was meant to be a joke.
But then you pulled Marty Jannetty?
It was meant to be a joke, and it just bombed epically. Let's just move on.
Okay. God, it's been a long time since you said really dumb stuff.
Yeah, well, you know. I guess I didn't get put in timeout.
You were saying? God, I love it here.
I knew you were going to do it at the moment I fucking said it.
Don't bring it up.
Oy. Moving on.
Yeah, I like it though. I think you can have good. Butter's logic is like his old background, just a friggin' brick.
Yep. Ran right into that one.
But I think to put a bow on some of this, right? I think that when it comes to CM Punk and Roman Reigns, this is an avenue we've not yet explored, and it's not Roman at his strongest. It's not Punk at his strongest. It's Punk coming in and doing a solid for his best friend with a no filter and going to tell Roman, I don't care about you.
And this could potentially set up something for the future. You know, once Raw moves to Netflix at the beginning of the year, if they move Roman over to Raw, this could set up something, you know, between Punk and Roman.
And it looks like they might move Roman over there because of some of the promo art that has come out.
Yep. I mean, why not have the the Bloodline split? OG on Raw, new on SmackDown.
There's an idea. Would Punk turn on the Bloodline?
No, not with him doing this as a favor for Paul.
I could see the only way I could see him turning on the Bloodline would be because they let Paul get hurt.
Yep.
None of them were there to help Paul.
Because I was about to say, because then that would hurt Paul, you know. That would have Roman turning on Paul because, hey, you brought Punk into this. I don't see it happening. At least not that quickly, anyways.
Yeah, and Paul Heyman would turn as well, right? You know, that's implied. Because I said it earlier. I don't know if you were here, Lynch. Punk joining could be the out Paul needed to get away from the Bloodline altogether.
Yep.
Right? And you almost do another run of Punk and Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So. I do want to talk about, I think it was really interesting that they had Jade Cargill get taken out tonight.
Doesn't surprise me because now you can throw out, is she going to be ready in time for Wargames? Is she going to be, you know, able to go?
There's a good call too. Heyman was wearing new Bloodline colors, red and black, right?
Yeah,
I caught that.
But so was everybody else in the OG Bloodline. They were wearing
red. Yeah, like everybody had red and black on, right? Because the OTC shirt is red and black. I thought that initially, and then they literally showed Paul cut to the Bloodline. I went, oh, they're all in red and black.
I was about to say, I think just red and black's just a Bloodline color, really.
Holy shnikes.
What?
He's only 25 minutes late. But ladies and gentlemen, the OGP, the TWG, Mr. Pete Evans.
What's up, party people? Little run-in. It's been a tough time for the family, but after SmackDown, I got caught up. I said, let me just do a couple of things and let me see if I can hop on, give the people some of my time and spend some time with my boys and my family. So here I is.
So then before we go into the Jade Bianca thing, let's get you to weigh in on the poll question of the evening.
Okay.
CM Punk just turned the tide in the Bloodline Civil War, and go.
Yes, I agree. I think it's going to happen. I think we're getting turns at Wargames.
And that was what we were just kind of talking about before you came on.
Not so much with the women, but I also think we're going to get one with the men. If you can kind of quasi see the way Sammy was looking at Roman a little bit in the ring, even when he, like the backstage segment where he's like, yeah, everybody got it. And it almost looked like Sammy was even late coming out when it came out and the end of the to the surrender segment. I don't know. That's just my feeling. But nevertheless, I'm not sure what was discussed before, but that's kind of what I see somewhat.
Well, and everyone's really hyper focusing on this moment from last week when Bloodline is, so Sammy, Roman, they're all sitting in the back and they're talking, and the TV cuts to the ringside area when Solo's team comes out, and Sammy pulls his phone out of his pocket and throws it on the couch before they walk out. Like everybody is hyper focusing on this, that it's a sign that Sammy's going to turn, and I just don't believe it.
Not that part. I think that was like maybe he may have forgot to put his phone up, and he knows that the segment's about to get physical. If you really if you think about it, when guys come out to the ring and they get physical, they don't have their cell phones on them. They probably leave them somewhere, and maybe Sammy just quasi forgot, because it wasn't like he took it out of his pocket and he threw it and like they were still doing dialogue. He threw it and they immediately left. Like he knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So I just think that it was one of those things. Now, it would have been more insightful to what people are saying out there in the community, IWC, is if when he did call at the end, when Roman did call at the end of the show last week, if that was the phone that rang and Sammy had it, then you see what I'm saying? Why does Sammy have Wiseman's phone? Like that type of stuff. There is a story that could have been told there, but I'm looking at Martian is saying like the final boss reveal will be insane. Sammy is really working for the final boss. I can see that too. It kind of alleviate everything, right? Somehow, some way now, the goal for what they want to do is they want to make Roman Roman has to finish his story. He has to finish this arc, right? So you still got to knock him down and things that he just doesn't see coming. And there's some type of friction outside of what we're going to have at Wargames next Saturday, something that he's not going to see coming that's going to knock him down. What that is, I'm here along for the ride.
There's one thing that we haven't talked about, and now we're talking about turns, and we're talking about something Roman's not expecting. What if like Jacob Fatu or Tongalo, what if somebody like that were to turn?
To turn to his side?
Yeah.
I think that'd probably be more Jacob.
I think it could be Jacob. It's weird for me because I don't know what they do with Bronson after this, but he looks the part like now. He did before kind of on his own, but I mean, it was one thing like, hey, you're tagging along to do this for this one match, right? But he's putting the ones up. He's putting the one up with the new bloodline behind. Like you can't just go away from that now. I don't know how they get back to that to where he's a constant member or he has a constant tie or association with the new bloodline. You can kind of do that with Punk, where it's just like, okay, even at the end when SmackDown went off the air today, he's saying, like, I'm not doing, like, he literally went, like, he went the Roman across. He's like, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for him. Yeah. And they set that up so perfectly. That as soon as that happened, they set it up so perfectly since June. Because remember, the show that he went through the table, Heyman was like, take me with you.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So they planted this seed to circle all the way back. And it made sense. It makes sense for this one-off for this to happen, and then kind of go from there.
You know, something else, you know, we're talking about Sammy maybe joining The Rock, right? You know, being revealed as a pawn for The Rock. What if, and just hear me out here, and it may be really crazy, maybe really stupid. What if this is a way, The Rock coming back, revealing that Sami Zayn's actually working for him? Mm-hmm. And it's not just Sammy that's working for him. What if it's Sammy, Jacob, Tama, and Tonga?
So like a whole new bloodline of Solo's out.
Solo's out. Solo has to essentially either earn his way back into Roman's bloodline, and then you truly get the original bloodline back together to take down the evil bloodline. But then as soon as Roman beats the final boss, that original bloodline kind of goes its separate ways.
Like it's like it's the final send-off where they almost like Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah. Like, or like any Power Ranger season where they retire their powers at the end.
Listen. I don't want to say this. I said this in another chat. It's a very, very hot take. Very hot take. And you may kick me off. I just think the grand overall concept of PR is just slightly overrated. That's just me. That's just he kicked himself off.
Damn.
I'm just saying.
How could you say that, Pete?
That's just me. I'm not saying I think the individuals within it. Yes, you get JDF, but I think the concept as a whole, live action.
Ritz, get your ass back here.
I will bring him back. I will bring him back. But no, I want to see how everything animated. I'm sorry. Everything that's animated is going to live action. I would love to see a full-fledged actual project with PR in an animated form. I think that's now with JDF no longer being with us. That's the only really way you can do it and do it justice. And I think it'd be 100 times better.
And not to go off the rails, right? But you'd pull the stories from the comics now.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're doing a damn good job of that right now.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, back to wrestling.
Anyway. I mean, this is an interesting take, and I want to get to Don's question too. The Rock will pick Bronson Reed as general for the new bloodline. Solo's out. He's just a puppet. I would almost say Sammy, though. Like, you have Sammy as the general, Jacob as his enforcer, the Tongas as whatever the hell they are. Solo tries to hang on to Bronson, and Bronson just looks at him and goes, "Nah, I'm not. No, this isn't it for me. You're not what you said you were," kind of deal. I'm just out. He lays out Solo and moves on. Because Bronson Reed's a weird variable here.
He is, but I didn't. He was already on an ascension, right? Like you felt like 2025, he was going to get his first singles title, whatever title that may be. And you kind of felt like they had the faith behind him because this is his second stint within WWE. But once they start putting him working with Seth and they're doing it behind just a one-off match, like it continued, right? So you're like, okay, well, they have faith in him. They have plans for him. I didn't see this swerve coming as far as him joining the bloodline in this capacity. What I'm saying is, people, once again, It's different from him just saying like, "Hey, we went out and got a fifth guy." Like, no, like you heard Alicia today when she introduced him when to open the show individually. This is the collective bloodline.
Well, I'm looking him up right now, and he actually has Samoan descent.
Yeah, I told you that.
I didn't think you had. If I'm being honest with you, I didn't think you had any like
sound source to say it.
Yeah, because the man's Australian.
But see, here's the thing: Samoan descent, Pacific Island descent. It's not just here. It's not just Hawaii. You can go to New Zealand. They do. It's a very strong New Zealand Pacific Islander.
Well,
Netherlands, Australia. You can tell by the tattoos. You can't get the tattoos that he has if you're not of Samoan descent.
Yeah, see, I ain't looking at the man's tattoos. I really don't give a rat's ass.
I'm attention to detail. Your attention to detail, anything PR and Batman. That's it. Everything else you can care less.
Well, but with wrestling too, it's just tattoos up until talking about the bloodline. Right, you really don't normally give a damn about somebody's tattoos. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And while I understand that you can be from Australia and have that Samoan descent and everything like that, because I'm sure the comments are going to try to. And I see it right now. Well, Yokozuna was Japanese. Da 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 da. No shit, guys.
Yeah.
Right. Like, don't think I'm that stupid.
Right.
I mean, technically, he was part Samoan too.
Well, that's why they started Yokozuna Japanese, you bastard.
But that's also a lot different time in the 90s. Kayfabe wasn't a thing. Wrestlers could keep their
God. You guys are really.
I'm going by the chat too. The chat is.
I'm looking at the chat. And they're trying to be funny, and they're trying to make it seem like I'm really stupid. When y'all know I'm not. Number one, you guys know I'm not. So stop that. Like, all right, if that's how you're gonna be, go get out. At that point, just go away. You know what I mean?
All right, your thought.
On
what you were articulating a thought, and then
but they've never. He has never, in nothing that he's ever done, has called back to his Samoan heritage.
Right.
Like, I truly would have, like, if I was him, especially, and we knew that was the route we were going to kind of go of inserting him into the bloodline per the story, I would have had him bring it up in a promo or two or something. Right?
Mm-hmm.
By not doing that, you make him feel very out of place in this.
You think that, see, and I'm the opposite. I get where you're coming from, and I respect that view, but I'm the opposite because this isn't something I totally didn't expect, but it makes sense. It works.
Well, because
you see the five of them visually.
You picked up on the visual cue of those tattoos, right? For those of us that didn't pick up on it,
right? You
see Bronson, and you're like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
But it's like I almost wish that in a promo he would have just snuck it in there.
Right.
A little bit to be like, you've got these Samoans over here on SmackDown doing their thing and da-da-da. I don't need to be with them to, something like that to where he references, hey, I am Samoan. Don't forget about that.
Did he ever have any interactions with the original bloodline?
No.
The original run? I get and if you look at it right visually, this is next level storytelling. If you ever write things, write scripts or whatever else, right? If you take a look at the parallels between the old bloodline, OG bloodline, and the new bloodline, everybody knew that was in the bloodline originally, the OG bloodline. Roman was it. He was the alpha. The other guys were truly betas at that time. Jimmy, Jay, Sammy, even Solo was a beta at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Where this new bloodline with Solo as the front man, you feel like it's the complete opposite. Like he has respect, but you really look at Jacob like, yeah, if Jacob and Solo got in a fight, Jacob winning that. If Bronson and Solo got in a fight, Bronson probably winning that, right? Like if you just legit shit, right? Even Botchaloa a little bit because he's just a big dude and he's tough as shit. And even Tama. And so it's the complete opposite where you felt like Roman had to reach down essentially to lift the other 3-4 up. Where I feel like now how Bayley came out to the ring at WrestleMania 40, it's these 4 other dudes now, include with Bronson there, literally holding Solo up. They're propping him up. He's not lifting them up to where his status is. He imagines himself as the status. And at some point, some PLE down the road, that's going to come to bite him in his ass. That's not going to happen this upcoming Saturday because that's not the story to be told. At some point, that is going to the story to be told.
I think it comes after Roman and Solo have that one-on-one at the Royal Rumble. At least I'm calling it at the Royal Rumble. And have that one-on-one interaction. He does lose the Ulafala, right? Or doesn't lose the Ulafala. However that plays out. But he gets beat. And they all turn around and go, what were you doing? What were you thinking? Why did you think you could win that without our help? Whatever. However you phrase that. And that's where, and I don't think it's necessarily a Solo issue. I think it's just the way they position the character.
Right.
Is to look like that.
Yeah.
Because you literally had Roman lose on Sunday. Lose the title and disappear, and by Friday, Solo, for no other reason than Roman's gone, is taking over the bloodline.
Right, he's going to get himself in trouble. Like, there's legit real life leaders in that fashion that think they let their mouth cash a check that they ask really can't, and he's going to take on something. I think that's where Bronson's going to get pissed. And then I think we're going to see Bronson and Jacob go at it at some point. And then, but it's going to be in not so much the defense of Solo. It's just like, this is not how we really truly do business. Right. Yeah. So, it's definitely good. And we'll pivot. I don't know if you guys want to talk about KO and Cody, but if we do tonight, I definitely have some thoughts about that.
We were going to go to Jade being kind of tossed off the ramp onto the car.
Right. Is she legit hurt?
I don't know.
That was my first thought because she was legit hurt. It wasn't just I'm thinking to myself, like, why would you do this for her now? They've also taken her out of the qualified triple threat match. And my call when we were off camera, I said, I want Chelsea Green to be the first U.S. women's title holder. It's still alive. It's still alive. 2 more matches. But I think she may be legit hurt, or it was a work and. I don't know. I'm thinking it's Liv and Raquel, which makes more sense. But I think it's because she was legit hurt. She's legit hurt. Because now I think they're going to replace her in Wargames too.
With probably Bayley, but I was thinking it was Bianca that took her out.
But how? So you're saying that she did it and she was there?
You started
listen, it's time
for that.
You pull a Triple H Shawn Michaels easily with this. After War Games, you let it all come to light.
It's time. If that's the case, Bianca's the 5th. Bayley's replacing Jade. When we get the War Games, Bianca just walks the fuck off. Because it's her time to come out the cage. It's her time to come out the holding cage and enter the ring. She just walks off. She goes to the back.
How Bianca reacted to it's my partner, it's my problem. You guys stay out of it. That right there told me, wait a minute, you attacked her before you went to the ring. Because they found her. They cut to this. They found her.
Cut to her. Mm-hmm. It was almost like somebody was walking by. Oh, you see what I'm saying? Like nobody saw nothing.
Right? So, and then Bianca dipping, running out of the ring. Now we're setting that up. And then she's not there when Rhea and them get the beat down. Rhea has to come out and make the save, but Bayley is.
Right. And it's almost like, how can I say it? Like her reaction is to jump on to what you're cooking there. If I can add something, when her reaction almost came off a reaction like, oh shit, like this, I'm upset, but I'm not upset that my partner got hurt. I'm upset that y'all found her. Like I'm my cat may be out of the bag. proverbially speaking.
Yeah, you guys found her too early almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Because then the other thing is, one, you cost me my opportunity in the United States title,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they can play off of that because whether she attacked her or not, you cost me my opportunity because you got jumped. You couldn't
Right.
defend yourself.
Yeah.
Or you're holding the team back because you're not ready to be on our level.
Right. And it's almost like she could come across like saying, hey, like this tag team title joint is cool, but I was a women's champion. I headlined at WrestleMania before you came. I'm trying to get back to that. And it's and I don't know what it is. When Trips had the black and gold brand, and they did this with kind of Sasha too, but obviously Trips wasn't in control. But now that he is, Bianca was a heel in NXT.
Correct.
It wasn't like the EST. I'm making like cool. I'm gonna get young girls that like me anyway. But it was like it was almost on some old. She was almost like a female Mr. Perfect in NXT. Like anything you could do, I could do better.
Yeah, and I think her entire time on the main roster, she has been a babyface.
Right. Yes.
And so so on that regard too, it's time. When we've talked about this, when Jade made her main roster debut, we talked about the first person we want to see her go up against is Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
You put Jade with Bianca, they teamed up. So now you let Jade sit under the learning tree of Bianca to learn how to do this WWE thing, this main roster thing, this wrestling thing. To where now here we are, I'll call it 6 months away from WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're with only Saturday night's main event, Royal Rumble,
Elimination
Chamber, then WrestleMania. You can start laying the groundwork.
And it opens so much, it opens so many more doors for Bianca. Like ultimately, there's a women's match that could theoretically headline WrestleMania if the story is told right. That's Bianca versus Rhea all day. Like you just pen and paper, it writes itself, right? So I feel like this Royal Rumble is going to be huge from the standpoint of setting that table, but I also feel like it can set up a table and close some stories, and then also be the launch. It's always it's proverbially always a launching pad for Mania.
Yeah,
but truly, because we're going to get Charlotte coming back. I think it's going to be there's a lot of storylines right now that are being told. A lot of friction, not centered around titles.
Yeah,
and I love to see that.
When it comes to the Jade and Bianca thing too, right? You could have them blow up at Saturday. Let's call it at Saturday night's main event. Let's say they drop the tag titles, right? And Bianca blasts Jade, reveals that it was Bianca that put Jade on the shelf. You lead that into the Royal Rumble match. You could almost have Jade win or Bianca win, doesn't matter who. You go to Elimination Chamber. They're having their one-on-one. And what's up for grabs is the spot at WrestleMania against Rhea, who is champion now.
But champion of which brand?
Who cares? That part's irrelevant to me. Because you also have the Tiffany Stratton factor. So not knowing where that's going to go, where was that? So they do the match at Elimination Chamber. Somehow you get us to where it's Bianca Rhea. I don't think that they go Bianca Jade Rhea.
Right. No.
Right. They could because again that would also still be somewhat entertaining. You have three powerhouse women. It's a different match than what we saw with Charlotte, Ronda, and Becky at 35.
I mean, it could be the women's version of, Drew, Gunther, and Sheamus.
Well, close to that was.
It could. I mean, I think if that's the case, then you center around the U.S. Women's title. But I don't know. Like I think the story, if it's told right, they can definitely get to that point. I don't know where, like you said, where Tiffany falls into it at. I think you may see her cash in at Saturday night's main event or Rumble, but I think it's coming within the next 60 days or so. Hot take going into Saturday night's main event. I do not think Cody Rhodes ends this year as the WWE champion.
So is that match happening at Saturday night's main event?
I based on the fact that they brought it up and we're so close to Survivor Series, and it's a double taping tonight for next week. I definitely think it's happening at Saturday night's main event. And crazy shit happens at Saturday night main event. Always has.
Yeah.
Always. And it's almost like a spot to where we still want to see. We still don't know what Randy's going to do when he comes back. He wants to get his hands on KO. KO power drive him. But the things that KO is saying, like you remember tonight, he said, I loved Randy Orton. And I did that because you made me do that. Regardless if it's right, wrong, or different, he feels as if, like Corey said, his conviction is that he is projecting all his accountability for his actions on Cody.
Yeah.
Randy may hear that. It's almost going to be like, not saying by the time Mania comes around, Cody won't be the champion again or won't have the title. I just think he's going to drop it at some point along the road. And I think he's going to drop it to Kev. And I think it's going to be almost like what we saw, like his loss is almost going to be what we felt in 91 at Rumble. When nobody saw Slaughter beating Warrior. Nobody. You see what I'm saying?
So,
and like that type of emotion.
So there are some spoilers out for next week's SmackDown.
Already. I saw like the
lineup.
The lineup, but I didn't see, like, I don't know what happened.
So again, because I don't care about spoiling this stuff for you. It looks like Meechin defeated Piper Niven and Lash Legend, who filled in for Jade.
Okay.
So Meechin moves on.
Yep. Okay.
Nakamura defeats Andrade. Andrade had his same music, different video. After the match, Nakamura uses the Blue Mist on LA Knight. Currently, it's Cody Rhodes versus Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah. Okay. Which obviously probably gonna get a KO run in there, and I like that. Even that, because like it's almost like, yeah, we didn't put the strap on Carmelo at Crown Jewel. Like, you got to remind people, like he said, you need to reevaluate your first round pick. Like, you forgot he was the first round pick for this quasi draft. Like, this dude is still here.
Yeah.
And he's still relevant with no title. Right? So, Butters, you can chime in at any time. You've been quiet down there behind that beautiful hutch behind you there, down there in sweet old Texas.
With the good old Legos inside.
Is that what I thought they were Hess trucks.
No, that's all Legos, bud.
Okay.
God, I remember the Hess
trucks. A Lego house?
I had the Hess trucks.
And also, before Butters goes, I think Gargano turns heel too. We've never seen them be heel together.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
it would be a nice fresh take. I mean, we've seen Gargano heel, we've seen Ciampa heel. To your point, Pete, we've never seen them together as heels.
We never seen them together as heels. They'd be on the same page.
Yeah, so to be heels on the same page, taking the titles off of Motor City Machine Guns, two people that are very ingrained in Johnny's life.
Yep.
And it's a great heel turn for Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as I would like to see the Street Profits, come out on top at the end of all this, when the smoke settles, it would be interesting for, a heel DIY.
Yeah, but you can still have them come out
right.
on top.
That's why I say, like, the Street Profits now, even if you don't do that full heel turn, they have an edge. They acknowledge the fact that they haven't been successful in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that whole stirring the pot. You don't see that
let them
laughing, smiling, talking so more.
No, because it's all basically just transitioning to one team going back to face and the other just turning heel.
But let DIY win the titles, and then you have Street Profits get absolutely livid
Yep.
that you took our opportunity from us and you won the titles.
Yep.
Well, then Profits, they don't go complete heel. They're not complete baby faces. They just go out there and they beat the ever-living brakes off of DIY at, let's say, WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Give DIY a respectable title run. Let this story truly build, because we don't know when DIY would win the titles. I would have to assume it could be at Saturday Night's Main Event. Right?
Yeah.
And you build that for WrestleMania, and you give the Street Profits that WrestleMania moment that, let's be honest, they deserve.
They do deserve. And it's really about trying to put talent in a position to really be a character on screen, but really just be themselves. Like I mean, Tez is a little bit different, but it's Tez turned up to 1,000, right? Where Dawkins is now starting to get to that point. Where, like, remember when he first was coming to TV, my man was wearing house shoes. He was wearing slippers and sweatpants. He was just chilling. He wasn't into the suits. He wasn't into all that. So this now he can start to be himself and find his own way and carry that through. And it's really just like, hey, we're still the same guys. We're not going to cheat, but we're not going to let nobody punk us no more.
Yeah, and we are 6 months away from WrestleMania. And so a lot of things that we don't have the monthly PLEs like we used to, especially when you think we're going to have Saturday Night's Main Event on the 14th of, let me go Saturday Night Main Event. We go to...
Why are you looking at Don says, what's the most boring boring segment from WWE right now? Butters, you answer that question. You speak for all of us.
Segment?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
It can't be that many. It has to be one that came to your head originally. Don't trust your gut and your beard.
If I trusted my gut, probably wouldn't be as fat.
Okay.
No, I honestly, I'm drawing a blank right now, and I don't know why.
It's the LA Knight stuff. All of it's been boring.
Okay.
So you have on December 14th, you have Saturday Night's Main Event. The Royal Rumble is February 1st.
Yes. Big January Netflix for Raw. Yeah.
Yeah. So the 14th, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks later is the Royal Rumble. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks later is Elimination Chamber on March 1st. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks until WrestleMania.
Okay.
Right? So you don't have something every 4 weeks, every 3 weeks. So you're going to have to start making these SmackDowns, these Raws matter more.
Yep.
And also at the same time, once you get to the PLE, it's really got to hit home and either take us to that next chapter or close the book so we can open up the next book and give it that time. Because by Elimination Chamber, when Elimination Chamber is done and set, the three of us should be able to sit down and say, here's what they're doing for WrestleMania.
Yep.
I agree.
I still think we get Punk rounds at Mania. I don't think it's for a title. If it's for a title, it's cool. I just think it's too much right now for him to main event. I don't know. I think we get Charlotte coming back somewhere in there as well. You get Asuka coming back somewhere in there as well. You get Becky Lynch coming back somewhere in there as well, even though she's not signed. It's leading towards being signed, right? That's what we saw.
Think the Rumbles where we see Charlotte and Becky come back.
I do too.
So they just have the roster, man, and the women's roster is already stacked. Even you got, and who knows where we're at with NXT? They're putting on a better product. It's starting to feel more like a solidified brand, even in its own right. You got Deadline coming up with the Iron Survivor. It's just a good time, man. And then you got the other company who's having a PLE tomorrow, so we're not talking about that. It's in my state tomorrow too. It's 2 hours away, and I'm not even. And the tickets are dirt cheap, but I'm not even concerned.
Oh baby,
Martian is right on this. Mike Tyson really needed the money. He's pulling punches. Yes, he could not knock him out. He's not messing up that 20 million.
I care less about that too.
You know what I mean?
I do agree on one point though that Martian's saying that Netflix Live needs to get better.
Yeah,
because I don't want to watch Monday Night Raw and buffer the entire time.
Yes.
So here's what I'll say. As far as I can remember, this was their first true test run of the Netflix Live.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be bugs, right? You have this to figure it out. I think they're doing the Texans halftime show on Christmas Day. It's like Texans Ravens or something like that. I forget who's performing. I think Beyonce's performing.
Yeah.
So they have that, and then January 6th. So they have opportunities to fix this, and I'll give them the first couple of weeks, right? But once we hit like February, get your shit together. That's when we'll talk about it then.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But we are getting in that WrestleMania season. We're getting ready. Everything we talk about now, I think, is going to at some point affect how WrestleMania looks.
And it's crazy that we're already back to WrestleMania season.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
This year has flown by, and here we are.
Speaking of this year, though, kind of give you the next little rundown of the rest of the year as far as us being on the air goes. Next week is very up in arms.
Yeah.
Because it's the day after Thanksgiving.
You can call. I'll say it for you because it's Black Friday. Okay, as you were.
No, stop it. I just don't know where the three of us are going to be. Right? I don't know if we're going to be back home. I don't know if we're going to travel. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing for Thanksgiving yet.
Eating.
No, I already told my parents I'm not coming over.
But you're not going to eat? You're going to eat.
I mean, I might eat Thanksgiving food, but
okay.
I'm more concerned with karaoke that night. But it's also the night before Survivor Series, so we may try to get on the air and do something. Right. Then we're on the air the 6th and the 13th.
Okay.
The 20th, I'm not on the air. If y'all want to be on the air, go right ahead. That's my birthday. I have plans already. And then I don't know on the 27th because it is right there after the holidays. It's right before New Year's. So as of right now, the 13th could potentially be our last show for the year.
Right. And let's not forget, I know Saturday Main Event is somewhere early in December.
It's the 14th. So the 13th would be that preview show.
Okay. They have those big shows, those big MSG house shows.
Yep.
That's going to be, we haven't seen it in a very, very, very long time. I agree, Don. Especially, I don't like fruit-filled pies. Pumpkin pie is cool until you've had a sweet potato pie. That's all I'm gonna say. Until you had a sweet potato pie.
The amount of things that have come out of your mouth tonight that have made me want to jump on a plane.
But we haven't had a Bob Backlund diesel in 24 years or whenever that was, almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Now. So I'm telling you, and I've been calling it. Cody is going to lose his title in a fashion that you do not expect.
Very possible. It is very
fashion possible. It's going to happen when and where you do not expect it to happen, and it's not going to hurt him because his run. It was throughout the summer. I wasn't a fan, but now it's starting to build up, and it really hasn't even had to do shit with the title. Honestly, his best stuff now since Bloodline has been this KO Randy Orton friction. He's in the middle of a love triangle, and he may ultimately end up on the wrong side because Randy Orton is probably going to come back and blame Cody.
Well, but he's been in the middle of all these different dramas, and that's definitely something we'll talk about the next time we jump on. Is kind of Cody at the center of everybody else's problems.
Yep, and that's why I don't hate Cody. I hate Cody as a face. Listen, before we leave, I'm gonna say a cuss word. He fucking holds the title every time he comes out. You tell me the person who you ever seen hold a title like that was a face. Triple H held the title the same way. You go back and you watch the 1980, whatever you want to watch, and Ric Flair in one of his reigns, he comes out on Saturday morning, he's holding the title the same way. I'll give you one better yet. When have you seen a face wear a suit with the title as many times as he has?
You feel really passionate about this, don't you?
He's a heel. He's I'm telling. I don't know how nobody else sees it. He is a heel. He probably won't ever turn heel. He is a heel through and through. Through and through.
Man.
On that note, we're gonna put that one. We're gonna put a pin in that. Save that for next time. Guys, I want to wish you all a very, very happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at In This Very Ring.
Happy Fat Guy Day.
Other shows will be on prior to that. We won't. We're going to get out of here. For Pete, for Butters, I'm Rich. Tell somebody you love them. Peace, love, and joy. We are out of here.